Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Whew. This is a follow-up to the last video I did with the Cybertruck, where I talked about it and I said my thoughts. I felt like I gotta be honest, I got a lot of dislikes. A lot of people didn't like that, and first of all, it's my opinion. It's how I feel. I mean, obviously, you don't disagree. I guess that's your way of disagreeing with me. I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings about it. But the reason I'm making this video is because I happened to see a Cybertruck. That's right, I happened to see one on the road, finally, up close, in person. I was leaving the San Francisco airport, and there it was, just sitting there on the highway as I merged, and of course I got some video footage next to it. But the thing is, I was able to catch it and just kind of fall behind a little bit, drive next to it, and I was thinking to myself, okay, it doesn't look horrible. It still looks a little weird to me. It does. But what it reminded me of, it seemed like something like I was following a vehicle, a NASA vehicle, and it was going to be on, I don't know, some lunar mission. That's what it looks like. It looks like something that's not supposed to be in this generation yet. Makes sense? It feels like it's not for us. But that's what it is. Sorry, sometimes it trips me out when I have my polarized glasses. I can't see the viewfinder, so I can't tell what's happening if I'm recording, what's going on with there. But what I'm saying, it reminded me a lot of like a vehicle that didn't seem like it belonged on Earth. It feels like this vehicle would be like a next rover, something that should be on like the moon mission, something like that. You know, maybe I'll watch too many space shows, but I just didn't. It looked very futuristic, and then fall behind it. It did give me the illusion like I'm falling behind a refrigerator with some lights on it. I'm not gonna lie about that, but it is a neat looking truck, and this way if I wanted something unique, if I didn't want to blend in with everybody else, that is a perfect way to stand out. I can see a lot of celebrities buying these for obviously a status thing or just to be different. But just looking at it and just seeing this overall dimensions and shape and just kind of comparing it to the other cars out there, I'm thinking I still keep my same statement. I don't think your average truck person is going to be buying it. I don't think that your F-150 or Silverado person is going to be cross-shopping those two trucks. There may be a small percentage of them, but most people are going to go to your traditional truck. But what I see is, if I still to say it, when I said in my first video, I still think it's going to be your person who doesn't really need a truck, but kind of wants the idea of a truck. Kind of like me, you know, like I have the Range Rover. I don't need a truck. I want something that's sort of rugged. You know, want something, you know, that I could go off road if I need to go off road. Some multi-purpose vehicle that's got some power. I can see that. But your traditional, like, you know, like truck person, that's, you know, I don't know if, I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So don't give me the dislike just yet. Just, you know, calm down. But yeah, that's what I think. But just wanted to give this update, tell you that I actually did see one. I am curious to see how one drives. I've been watching some videos of the steer-by-wire system, and everybody's complaining about, oh, you know, the ratio. I want to mention this, and this is because I know BMW. BMW has been doing something similar for years. Back in 2009, I bought a BMW 3 Series, a 335i, and it had what's called active steering. It wasn't steer-by-wire. It was still connected to a steering column, and it still was hydraulic. It wasn't even electric at that point. But the way that they described the Cybertruck steering, it reminds me of what I felt like with the BMW with active steering. And the way it worked was, it only took 1.5 turns lock to lock. So one turn, half, boom. Whereas most cars, you gotta wrap around a couple times. But from going from one end and going back to the other end, it was like that. And it varied the steering ratio depending on how fast you're going. So on the highway, if you wanted to change lanes real quick, you had to do a deliberate motion to make the car move a little bit. But at low-speed parking lot, just a small movement moved the car quite a bit. It was a learning curve getting into it because I felt, your brain get to retrain it. And I'm assuming it's gonna be the same thing for Cybertruck owners. If you have a Cybertruck or if you're thinking about getting one, leave me a comment if it's something you relate to. Because when I was driving to BMW and I had to make a U-turn, in my head, I'm like thinking, I gotta get ready to make this U-turn real quick. I need to start wrapping this wheel around. And what was happening was, as I was coming down and slowing the speed down and thinking I'm making a U-turn, the first couple of times I've done it, I actually screw up the front wheels because the front wheels automatically started to turn this way because I've already hit the lock before I was ready to go. And as I slowed down, the wheels automatically turned. And you could feel the motion where you almost turn too aggressively in the beginning. The rear steering, I think, would help, but I don't know how fast the rear. Well, no, I did see Jason Kamis's video about when he was playing with it, like doing this. The rear does move fast enough. I've seen some motor rear steers where they seem to have to catch up because it's all electronic, but I don't think anything's wrong with it. I don't think there's any safety issue with that. I'm not complaining about it, just so you know. I'm not complaining about it. I have toy RC cars, the Traxxas, things like that, and I've had some nitro cars, and those are all electronic, and it uses, you're basically you're steering by wires, radio signal, but it's a servo base, and never had any reliability issues where all of a sudden the car just didn't steer when I gave it a command. If anything, the car was way out of range before anything would happen from there. But I don't think that's a safety issue. I'm not too concerned about that. I think that's, I think there's a lot of things that are out there that are by wire, technically. Look at the, if you're into aviation, if you're an aviation geek like me, there are some airplanes such as Airbus has been doing it for several decades now, have been fly-by-wire, which means that the pilot gives a command on the not even a yoke, it's just a side stick, and based on the command he or she gives, the airplane decides how much to respond to that. It's not a direct connection to, and I think Boeing's doing that too. I'm not too sure, but I know Airbus for sure is a fly-by-wire, and I think it's one of the first fly-by-wire airplanes. And like I said, these are airplanes, so Tesla, I don't think I don't think it's a safety thing. I don't think there's any risk. Tesla does have their other branch of SpaceX. I think their engineering development, I don't think is lacking there. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I've already touched on the towing thing. I think the towing is great on it. 11,000 pounds is pretty much in the class, maybe class leading, depending on where you're cross shopping, because obviously, when you add up options on a F-150 or something like any half-ton truck, you start putting on all the features and things. It can't tow 11,000 pounds. The 11,000 pounds are those max things, like you got to buy the max trailing package, and then of course when you add those options of the four-wheel drive and everything else, that takes away from your payload and everything else. And then Tesla is saying, as is, this is your payload, this is what we tow. So that's great to hear that's what it is. So I think, yeah, in that sense, this is a class leading. Power, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think it's just going to be where you're going. If you're doing long distance cross country drives, which most people aren't towing long distance cross country, most people are just taking a boat to a lake, taking the travel trailer maybe down a couple hours away. I don't think there'd be any issues with charging. That I speak for all, like the Rivians and the Ford F-150 Lightnings, all electric trucks out there. I think it's always a misconception on the internet saying, oh, well, I don't want to sit 45 minutes every time. No, it's not quite as bad. And just as bad as when you drive a gasoline car, I got to stop for gas more frequently. And the only thing, the difference is just more gas stations out there. But I think there's charging stations, at least here in the area I'm in, there's a lot of charging stations available. So I just have to just plan lunch breaks and dinner breaks and, sit and charge for a little while. But at least you get a break, and when you get to your destination, you're not fatigued from sitting in the car for so long. Now the off-road capability, I'm interested. I've seen some things. I think a lot of things on the internet kind of flakes, but I want to see it. I want to see some true tests. I kind of want to see like TFL, true off-road, or it's like a true, like I know a non-biased journalist would test, and I want to see them put it to a test, and I want to see what happens. That's the end of this video. Thanks for watching.